Being a volunteer is a privilege, and what motivates me is a smile from another person. You can see that they know how important they are. As I have been working directly with refugees, I make visits, I do follow-ups. I have learned a lot from their culture, and this enriches my life. So it's very gratifying for you to be there for a refugee so he can know that he can count on you.
When I arrived here, I don't know anyone. I don't know a single word in Portuguese, and I don't know where I'm going to sleep on the first day. But I arrived at the airport and found a place in Santa Cecilia, left my things, and think, how am I going to stay here now?
I am difference maker, oh I am only one that speaks to him, and I am the friendliest of friends of God.
This has impacted me in the sense of being able to look at life a little through the eyes of another person. I think in the rush of the city, we are so used to a routine. We wake up, have our things to do, our lives to sort out, but in this environment, we end up getting very centered in our own problems, our aspirations, in what we want to do. And participating in Compassiva with refugees has helped me to take a little look at myself, realizing there are other stories. And I participate in these stories because I hear these stories, and I'm part of these stories, whether I like it or not.
Whenever I tell someone I do volunteer work, I say it's my way of keeping my feet on the ground. Because as I'm doing postgraduate studies, I'm always thinking, always on the theoretical part. I'm very theoretical. And if I stay on this, then I'm all theory and no practice. So the LAR program is a part where I keep my feet on the ground with my hands-on activity, even in the things that just happen around me. So for me, it's like this, a way to balance my life. The reality of refuge and refugees in Brazil is quite different from the classic image that people usually have about what refugees are. That they're living in camps built with tents, and that they have to wait until a war or a conflict ends. The reality in Brazil is that of the urban refuge. So the refugees are dispersed, fortunately, among the population, and that brings a lot of challenges for assistance and referral care programs.
The first difficult thing was the language. Language is very important for conversation, to do my things. So when I got here, I noticed that many people don't speak English.
I think the biggest impact, really, is the issue of independence. That the refugee can, from the moment he starts to learn Portuguese, he can regain his dignity and the independence of being able to do something.
LAR helps them to start over in some way, because the minimum that you might need in a new place that you never knew before is to communicate. When you can communicate, you can start over and build something new.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how a man can find himself alone? Calling to the darkness for an answer that he's never known. Yeah, isn't it amazing how a God can take a broken man? Yeah, let him find a fortune, let him ruin it with his own two hands.
In this context, programs like LAR are extremely important because they're the bridge of trust between the refugee and the information he needs, and the bridge of trust between the refugee and the other services he needs. And it's also the place where he will feel welcomed.
LAR program did the best thing for me here in Brazil. It taught me Portuguese, and Portuguese is the hardest thing. And they helped me a lot. They help refugees and families a lot. But for me, it was the language classes. As I said, that's the hardest thing for anyone. To get anywhere, the first thing he has to learn is the language. And I learned here with a lot of work, with very good teachers as well. And I will never forget this. And more than just realizing that there's a genuine motivation to help refugees with basic needs and communication, transportation, diploma issues, and employment, there's also a real concern for the lives of refugees. And I realized this when I saw refugees opening their doors to receive social workers, teachers, and the refugees like it. This is where bonds are created between these people, and for me this is very beautiful.
We are all transgressors, we're all sinners, we're all astronauts. So if you're beating death, then raise your hand, but shut up if you're not. 'Cause I am a difference maker, oh I am, only one who speaks to him. And I am the friendliest of friends of God. I am a difference maker, oh I am, only one who speaks to him. And I am the friendliest of friends of God.
Eu acho que a gente
I think that we're all the time
correndo atrás.
chasing things for ourselves.
A gente é ensinado.
We're taught to do everything that will bring some benefit to
Às
us.
vezes isso se torna doentio.
Sometimes this gets to be a sickness a little bit because we get so centered on our own lives that we forget to listen to people.
Que precisam talvez da nossa ajuda.
We forget that there are other people who maybe need our help. So the message that I have is that you be willing
A ouvir outras
to listen to other people, because when you lend your ear, your time, your attention,
pessoas, sua atenção.
you can't imagine what this will do for them.
Pra ela, né?
And I think this is very important, more important than anything else,
Curso que é bom também.
more important than you teach as a course, which is good to do, more important than you do something once in a while. It's you being aware
A consciência de
that you're dedicating a time of your life and taking time out of your life
que você está abrindo mão
is something very precious, because you're giving of yourself,
outra pessoa.
and that no money can buy.